Assalamu alaikum dear students, how are you all? Well, today we are going to learn about scoring system in IELTS. You know that I already deliver many lecture regarding IELTS, but this will be a lecture number 5, and in this lecture we will try to understand, right? We will be understanding IELTS scoring system. So keep in mind that IELTS exam scores 4 core skills, right? 4 core skills, which including listening, reading, right, writing, and speaking. Each section has divided scores on a band scale from 1 to 9. The overall band score is an average. So not like other exam, the Cambridge, right, IELTS exam doesn't score our result, our marks in numbers or in percentage, but instead they mark it on scale, on band scale, basically from 1 to 9. So for example, we will try to know about many other things over here. For example, first of all, if I specifically describe listening section, right, scoring of a listening section, so we all know that I already discussed these things many times, that the listening section comprises 30 total questions, right? So each correct questions earn 1 mark, right? Basically it comprises 40 questions. Keep in mind that. So that's why each correct answer on 1 mark out of 40. So which means that, for example, the band conversion of that mark will be in such a way that your raw scores converted to bands. For example, if you earn 30 points, 30 marks out of 40, which basically equal to your 7 bands, right? If anybody correct 35 or 40 by 40 questions, it means he will get 9 band. So it is quite simple and important thing. So score rounding will be in such a way that your scores round to nearest half or whole band. Nearest half or whole band. For example, if you get 6.9 band, so they will round it into 7 band. If you get 7.1 band, then it will be considered still 7 band, right? So your scores round to the nearest half or whole band. Keep in mind that, like your 7.4 will be considered 7.5 band. Keep in mind that. So I think that's clear. Let's move on forward to discuss something else. Like you can see here, we have IELTS academic. We already talking about that these things many times, and we have IELTS general. IELTS academic, both of them have 40 question in listening section, right? So in reading section as well. In listening and reading we have 40 questions. So if you correct 30 question out of 40, it means you will get 7 bands. And if you correct 35 questions out of 40, you will get 8 bands. The same is the case with general. But in general, if you correct 34 questions, you will get 7 bands. And if you correct 38 questions, you will get 8 bands. You may be confused why they are basically in general they're demanding more correct questions to get a 7 band or 8 bands. It's just because IELTS general is quite easy, a little bit easy as compared to academic one. So in academic you will have to come across many things that is maybe quite difficult for most of the students. So that's why IELTS general is quite easy. So that's why if you want 7 bands, so for that you will have to correct 34 questions in listening, right? So okay, let's move on. Now here you can see that is IELTS writing sections. Well, we all know that writing section will be assessed in a different way. So assessment criteria for the right section is like they will looking through your the task achievement, right? Like your response, what they basically demand from you, and what did you write over there in your answer paper. So task assessment, task achievement, and response is important, right? If you attempt a wrong questions, if your answer is not exactly what they basically demanding from you, so it means that your task achievement is not perfect. Then the next thing is coherence and cohesion, right? Which means that how well your areas in paragraph are linking and connected with each other, with the previous one, and with the upcoming one, with the next one and the previous one. And they are also looking through, right? They will also taking care about your cohesion, whether you are really able to use a cohesive devices in perfect way, like firstly, secondly, thirdly, moreover, furthermore, right, finally. So these are, those devices, discourse markers, right? Those linkers are cohesive devices. There is important in writing to put all of them in an exact proper order. The next thing is lexical resource, which means that in that case they will assess your vocabulary, whether you are able to use proper words in a proper exact situation where that this word will have to be, right? This word should must have to be over there. So words order and your word and vocabulary uses in the exact situation according to the form, right? Some people use word and vocabulary but use its wrong form in a wrong situation in sentence, so it is important to know that as well. Next is your grammatical range and accuracy. So your sentence structure, grammatical range, and accuracy also matter. So this assessment criteria, if you are basically, if you for example, if you're taking care of all of these things, task achievement, coherence, cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, then of course you will get a good bands in writing sections. But if you are ignoring all of them, so of course, for example, if not ignoring but you are just weak in some of the area from amongst all of this, so of course your bands will not be that good. Next thing is task scoring. Each task is scored separately than the average for the score, right? Because for example, for coherence and cohesion, lexical, so it will be scores differently. Then the whole last average score will be formed on behalf of these things, right? So let's move on forward to discuss speaking section, scoring for the speaking section. Look, we all know that speaking is for some students it is quite difficult, but you can't say that all modules are easy, right? Different modules has different students have a different different experience with different module. In IELTS speaking section, right, it lasts only for 11 to 14 minutes. So your interview duration will be last from 11 to 14 minutes with the examiner. In that case, examiner will be basically judging you, assessing you with the following areas like what? Your fluency and coherence, your lexical resource, which means your vocabulary usage, use of proper words of proper vocabulary, your grammar range, and accuracy and pronunciations. So in speaking section all of these things are counts. So in order to get a better bands in your speaking sections, in that case keep in mind that you must have to work on your this area, your fluency, your coherence, your lexical resource, your grammar range and accuracy, and your pronunciation. If your pronunciation is not good and better, of course you will get a little bit less band as compared to the one who is good in pronunciations. Same is the case with fluency and coherence as well. So that's why each module and section has different bands and area. Okay, how overall band score will be calculated? So this is important. Keep in mind that, look, for example, you get different bands in different modules and sections, so your overall band will be calculating in these few steps. Like in step 1, they will add listening, reading, writing and speaking scores. In step 2, it will be divided to 12 by 4 to get the average, right? All those scores in listening, reading, writing and speaking which you get, right? So this score will be added completely, then it will be divided by 4. Why by 4? Because we have 4 modules. So then it will be whatever the value we get at the end, it will be round to the nearest half or whole band. So it will be your overall final band, which will be actually derived from the all 4 module, right? So for example, I'm just want to give you a little bit descriptions of the band. For example, a person, a boy or a candidate with 9 bands is considered how it will be considered an expert user. If anybody get 9 band in IELTS, he will be marked as an expert user, which means he is fluent, accurate person, near to native English level speaker. And if a person or a boy who get 8 band, he will be marked as a very good user, not expert user but a very good user, which means he is operationally with few errors, right? So what about 7 and 8 bands? Look, if a student, right, for example, if a student or any candidate gets 7 band, he will be marked as a good user, which means that he is effective. He has a very good effective command and occasional mistake. Still, he has a occasional mistake as well, but he have effective command. And a person with a 6 band is marked as a competent user. Competent user is the one who generally effective some misunderstandings, right? He is generally effective but still have some misunderstanding in some area. And band 5 will be marked as a modest user, which means he has a partial command over the language and he has frequent errors in each module. Okay, what about band 4 to 2? Look, if anybody get 4 bands, he will be marked as a limited user, which means he has only, he's very basic competent in familiar context but not good expert user. And a person or a boy with a 7 band will be considered extremely limited, like general understanding only, not able to speak and write any kind of English. And what about band 2? He will be considered a intermediate user, which means he has a great difficulty in communicating, right, in communications. What about band 1? Well, let's look, IELTS band 1 description is something like that if you are get a band 1, it means you are a non-user, no ability beyond a few isolated words or phrases. These band indicate almost no communication capability in English, right? So thank you so much. This was all about IELTS scoring system. I try my best to describe all the things regarding scoring, right? How IELTS has been scored basically, and I describe all of them with respect to the different modules separately. Then I told you at the end how they score are basically roundabout and take average of all of them and get the final band. I hope you will understand.